How we doing, guys? Welcome to DT's Daily. Now on today's show we're going to take a look back at the first Carabao Cup semi-final between Spurs and Brentford. Next piece of news, we're going to take a look at Wayne Rooney and Derby County because the club has had to shut their facilities down due to a coronavirus outbreak. And the last piece of news involves Mesut Ozil because reports are suggesting that his time at Arsenal is nearly over.
I represent my fucking self.
How we doing, guys? Welcome to DT's Daily. That's right.
So the first place we're going to start is the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup. And of course it was Spurs against Brentford. And Spurs, they were on their way to Wembley after picking up a 2-0 win. Now that scoreline doesn't really paint a true reflection of the game. Spurs got off to a great start with Sissoko scoring inside 12 minutes. And at that point you were thinking, you know what, this could be a very, very long evening for Brentford. But they stuck in there and they got themselves to half time with the score only 1-0. And then you was thinking to yourself, you know what, they're going to have to come out in this second half and we're going to see what they're all about. Opening 10-15 minutes or so, come out really, really good, to be fair. And then they thought they equalised through Ivan Toney, banging in the goals this season. And he thought he had the equaliser, close range header. But VAR rules it out. Now, the issue with this is that when you looked at the images for VAR, the offending area, shall we say, was Ivan Toney's kneecap. That's how minimal this was. But the issue was the Tottenham player and whether his foot was playing him onside. Now the problem was no camera angle could show where his foot actually was because Ivan Toney's body obscured it throughout. The only angle that you could see the Tottenham player's foot was from behind the goal, but you're not going to be able to tell whether it's level behind or in front from behind the goal angle. Every other view they had was obscured. So I look at that and I think to myself, how can you make a definitive decision that it's offside if you cannot definitively see every part of the Spurs player's body to confirm 100% it's offside? Now this is where I feel in these instances you should be giving the advantage to the attacker. So minimal was the possibility of it being an offside that when you can't definitively say, yep, it was ahead of his foot, his toe, whatever it is, you've got to give advantage with the attacker, surely. And this is what makes a mockery of the VAR. No kind of clarity on certain things. It's like these handball situations we see. I think it was Leeds and Patrick Bamford that was actually pointing to where he wanted the ball played, which ultimately made him offside. Come on, really? We're meant to be using VAR to clear up, you know, obvious errors. There wasn't an obvious error here. And I'm not just saying that because it was Spurs involved. It's just the simple reality. Heung-min Son, ironically, straight after, goes and scores the second goal and the game was over. And then former Arsenal player, De Silva, gets sent off with 6 minutes to go. And again, this is where I wish common sense would prevail. But then again, Mike Dean was the referee and he don't have any common sense. De Sousa tried to do a chop on the ball and his left leg clearly slipped. And his right foot then went into Højbjerg's shin. Completely accidental. You could see as clear as day he slipped over what movement he was trying to make. And it was just an accident. And at that point, Mike Dean needs to be using his brain and looking at it and saying, it's not, you know, intentional. He's not gone out to hurt the player. He simply slipped over and it's simply an accident. Get on with the game. But no, Mike Dean, it's all about me. Got to get my red cards out. And yeah, the Mike Dean show. Absolute farcical. But Spurs, like I said, they're on their way to Wembley. And they are in the Carabao Cup final. And we'll see whether Jose Mourinho can bring silverware to Spurs. Because I believe it's been 12 years and 10 months since they've last won a trophy. And by the time this final comes around, they would have rolled over into 13 years. But yeah, they are through, and Brentford, they are out. Very, very unlucky to them. Next piece of news involves Wayne Rooney and Derby County, and the whole of the Derby first team squad, including Wayne Rooney, are set to miss their FA Cup third round tie with Chorley on Saturday because of a coronavirus outbreak at the club. Discussions are ongoing to try to avoid the need for the Championship club to forfeit the tie, despite the entire first team squad in isolation and the club's Moor Farm training ground being closed until Tuesday as a precaution. All of Derby's players and staff are due to be tested for coronavirus again on Thursday, but there is little expectation that any of them will be able to feature in the Chorley match. Plans are being put in place for Derby's youth players to represent the club in Saturday's game, with a combination of under 23s and under 18 players making up the matchday squad. That is mad. And again, the question you've got to ask here is, what's the difference between Manchester City and Fulham, for example, and Derby County? Apart from money, in Man City's case anyway. Man City have an outbreak of coronavirus. They get their game cancelled. Fulham have an outbreak of coronavirus and they've had 2 games cancelled. But Derby and Wayne Rooney, they have a massive outbreak, and it's a case of put what you can out or you will have to forfeit the game. There's no talk of, you know, postponing it for a few weeks, later date, whatever it might be. FA Cup games get cancelled all the time, you know, third round because of bad weather. When one of the lower side, you know, placed teams in the competition are drawn at home, and you know, some places don't have undersoil heating and it's frozen pitches or snow or whatever it might be. So I don't actually see why Derby can't just, you know, postpone this game. In all due respect to Chorley, I know it's a big opportunity for them to get through. Although it will still be difficult. You know, Derby's under 23 players and under 18s are still no mugs. And it would be still a tough, you know, task for Chorley to get through. But surely they would want to be playing against Derby's main players and the likes of Wayne Rooney being there. Surely. That's like a big, big moment for them as a football club. So it just seems strange that, you know, Manchester City and whatnot can do what they do and games get cancelled, and the same with Fulham. But this one, it's a case of like, listen, you're going to have to scrape the barrel and go and get your under 23s and under 18s, or you're going to have to forfeit the match. It's a strange one, that's for sure. Last piece of news involves Mesut Ozil, and reports were suggesting yesterday that his time at Arsenal could well be over. And it could be over as soon as next week, after his agent confirmed that he's making up his mind on his next move. Reports in Turkey on Wednesday suggested that he had decided to join Fenerbahce this month. However, Ozil's agent has revealed that the former Germany international is undecided about whether to leave in January amidst interest from clubs in America, Asia and Qatar. He told ESPN, "I can't talk about the clubs directly because it would be unprofessional, but generally there is 6 months left on the contract and it is nothing unusual that we will talk to people about different opportunities and try to find the best options for Mesut. He might stay at Arsenal until the summer, but he might go. Mesut's priority is to stay, but you never know in football. things can change very fast. For the moment, we are just checking all of the options for January and for the summer. If we want to leave in January, I need to talk to Arsenal. If we sign for the summer, we don't need to. Reports in Turkey itself had suggested a switch to Fenerbahce would be a dream move for the 32-year-old. It was claimed that he had agreed a 3.5-year deal with the Gunners paying his wages for the first 6 months of his contract worth £4.5 million a year. The report also stated that Ozil would receive a signing on fee for £2.2 million. There's also been talks that he's, close to joining DC United, but then that was, late, the day before. But then, yeah, all the reports that were coming out yesterday were just all about him going to Turkey, and, all these deals were in place and the figures of the deal were there, and it looks for all intents and purpose that Mesut Ozil's time is done. Now, I can kind of understand why his agents may be, dampening the fire, shall we say, because, until things have signed and, you can't really definitively say, yeah, it's done. It's maybe he's just making sure that he doesn't put his foot in it and, it could scupper a deal or whatever it is. One of the other interesting points that I saw involved in this deal is that Mesut Ozil is going to be signing a deal with Puma. Now, of course, his contract with Adidas was terminated when it came to the end of its period. And one of the interesting parts of this is that Puma are going to be dealing with Fenerbahce. So it's been suggested that the people involved and Puma and everything else want to have a big high-profile name with the new sponsorship and everything else. Who better? Mesut Ozil. So I think his time is done. I don't think he's going to be staying at Arsenal. I don't agree with people that are, ripping into him and slagging him off and everything else. Whatever your thoughts are on Mesut Ozil, I backed him multiple times for a long period on AFTV. And I do appreciate a lot of what he's done for this football club. And when he came in, it was just a phenomenon. It was unbelievable scenes, and some of the moments that he's done and, what he's achieved on the pitch broke, our trophy drought. And you remember his famous goal as well in the Champions League, last minutes, where he dinks it over the keeper and leaves 2 guys on his backside and everything else. I was lucky enough to be there to witness that. So yeah, it's not going to get any slagging off or bad comments from me and stuff like that. I wish him well, whatever he does in his future. It's a shame it's ended the way that it has. But listen, I think it's best all round. I know a lot of people are talking about the reasons why, and maybe it's because of his comments to do with China and everything else, but he played 12 matches after that. So I think that's a very easy one to pinpoint and try and use as a reason why. But what you've got to remember is that under Arsene Wenger, Mesut Ozil had free reign to do whatever he wanted. And then Unai Emery came in, Freddie Ljungberg came in, and then Mikel Arteta came in. And his name and his reputation didn't get him a place in the team anymore. And he basically had to work for his spot in the team. And those 3 managers have one thing in common, which is they all dropped Mesut Ozil. So make of it what you will. But it looks like his time is done at Arsenal. So there we go. That is it for today's DT's Daily. As usual, let me know in the comment section what you think about today's topics. If you're new around here, hit the subscribe button, smash a like on this video, and I will see you lot soon. I'm out of here.